we have a population where about 70% are young people that have found NRM here. We need to hear from people like you about how things looked like. How would you describe the political situation in Uganda to anyone, a stranger or anyone? How would you describe it?
The political situation in Uganda, me as an individual who has walked a journey since independence to now, I would say that the political situation in Uganda weighed against the hope that we had when NRM took over government in 1986 is very desperate and puts our country in really sort of a hopeless stage. Because, why do I say this? The most fundamental thing I see in the current situation in Uganda, which I had not seen all my time up to these other later stages of NRM, is the level of ethical value breakdown and the moral degeneration, high levels of moral degeneration. Mm-hmm. The materialism, love for power, love for materialism, which has overtaken love for humanity, which has led to total shameless society. You know what? When people lose a sense of shame, they turn into animals. You know, there are two Museveni's government. There is Museveni 1, which was the national resistance movement from 1986 to 2006. Call it those 20 years of Museveni's government. That was Museveni 1, and it was National Resistance Movement government. 26 to now, to 2026 ahead, is Museveni 2. And this is National Resistance Movement Party. You talk to me of young people. Young people don't know the difference. They just say, NRM, Matembe, come back. Come back where? I have never been in the National Resistance Movement Party. Which is completely different from the National Resistance Movement government. In the National Resistance Movement government, the political leaders, at least generally or majority, were driven into political leadership by service. What drove them was to serve and change and transform Uganda from the ditch where it was to really move it forward. And I can guarantee and say with pride that we managed to lift Uganda from the ditch because it had fallen down. Yeah. By 1985, when the National Resistance Movement took over power, really Uganda had gone. Had gone, not in terms, by the way, of values or in terms of morals of Ugandans generally. Those who were killing people hungry for power, drinking, corrupt and so on, were not the majority of Uganda. Were those people who were in power and wanted to remain in power. But the general public of Uganda, Ugandans remained human. They were still a human being. They still had a sense of shame. And when we used to go to campaign, it was just a wonderful thing. You go with your colleagues and you stand on the same platform and you say, look at this one. You see me, Matembe, I'm better off than these people. And you know, I had this, what was my motto? You call it motto or what? Slogan. Tera Matembe Mbare Tembe. You know? Vote for Matembe, Mbarara will rise up. And then I would say, this one who is calling herself Mehanje, Mehanje kakitaka nyamu. And in public then would laugh and no hatred, no injury. No, I am telling you, for my 20 years of political leadership in this country, those were Ugandans. By the time we left, they had started, you know, wanting to eat something, drink. I remember the last time I campaigned, when I went to an audience, and they said they were doing like this, showing hands that by the throat. And I said, what is the problem? And what did they tell me?
We are thirsty.
Enyonta, we are thirsty. I said, thirsty? Then I would say, you people, you been sitting here waiting for me. Me, I've been traversing the whole of Mbarara, and by then Mbarara was 49 sub-counties and 10 counties and municipality. And I used to be a leader in Mbarara, and up to now, all that area in Mbarara, the greater Mbarara, which is now 7 districts, knows what Matembe did. Imagine that whole big area, me one individual, woman district representative, reaching everywhere and being impactful in those areas. And they never asked me, give us food. What are you leaving us? When I would go, they would do, after I have addressed people, I would tell them I'm coming to give you information, to train you, teach you. The whole sub-county would come. And after I have talked, mark you morning, I'm talking, afternoon, I'm going to another sub-county. And then they would get me with my driver, with my other people, and put us in our room and give us lunch. They would give us lunch, water and the chicken, and we eat, and we go to another sub-county. But you now, you go there. You are the one who must pay the money which brings them to the meeting. You are the one who must pay them what to eat. You are the one who must give them transport. Where do you get this money from? Where did that moral greed, decadence, the highest levels of greed, insatiable greed among the public and the leadership? So that central, the moral decadence, the ethical value degeneration, almost reaching rottenness, is a very, very big factor in the current leadership of Uganda, which was never there before. A respectable senior citizen begging on the street, on the sotia, what are you living with me? What? When I grew up, if the senior citizen lacked something, would go to a friend or a relative, and they would go quietly and sit together, and he would present the situation, and he would be helped dignifiably without selling their souls. But right now, Ugandans have sold their souls.
They have been reduced to beggars.
To nothing.
If you could describe for us the mood, the situation and mood in 1986, after a turmoil of over, was that 14 years? Almost 20 years.
Obote, Amin,
and the Okellos
and all that mess.
So what was the situation that time, and what was the mood, the reception of the NRM government?
When Obote took over, by that time Museveni took over, I told you had reached a dead end. Because I remember, I personally, when I saw Okero, when Okero Rutua had taken over, and then there was Tito Okero, And I saw them on my Kasmoro TV, black and white.
Mm.
And Okero was saying, Oboche made a mistake. I was seated in my chair. Oboche made a mistake. You know, and I looked at, I said, God, here I am. I'm a lawyer. Eh?
Mm.
With all my degree, with all my knowledge and ability. And those are the people, that is the president that is ruling us in this country. Let me tell you, I almost picked a stone and threw it at that TV.
Because of how he was speaking?
I mean, who was this leading us? There was Okero Rutwas, I'm finishing you. The other, Tito Okero. And then Rutwa talking, Yama Oboche make a mistake. Oh my God. Because we the educated, we with the brain, we with what?
So that wasn't an accent, it was someone.
What was the knowledge? I mean, you know, Okero Rutwa.
Illiterate.
Completely illiterate. We had suffered, and then this, and when Obote Wambe, the second Obote, that second Obote, I really feel sorry for Obote. I don't think he was in charge. It was people like the Rwakasisi who were in charge, killing people, looting, corruption, maximum, but not Ugandans.
Yeah.
The general Ugandan public was suffering, except those who were linked to the leadership, who were related to the leadership. The rest of us were suffering. We had reached, if I can explain it and say, a ditch. Uganda was in a war. Therefore, that's when Museveni was welcomed. Me, if you ask me, when Museveni stepped on this Uganda, my cousins had gone to the bush, my uncles, my whatever. We thought they would die there. Some of them had run away without knowing that they went there. We thought they were dead. And some of us who were Banyankore were really tortured, suffered. Me, for instance, I was at Uganda College of Commerce teaching her. You know, many of the young boys had to leave that college and go to the bush. What hurts me is that I suffered when Museveni was away, and now I'm suffering even when I received him with all my heart. That is the challenge, really. Not of me alone, but of many Ugandans. But when he came, he came with 10-point program. I don't think I can remember all these 10 points now. But when I read that small book of 10-point program, I personally, I said, this is angel from heaven to deliver us. Because that's exactly what we needed. Democracy, unity, whatever it is, I have now forgotten all those things.
Corruption,
I don't
fighting
keep
corruption.
Them, building an integrated, building an independent, self-sustainable, integrated economy. 40 years, he's still crying. Why don't you export coffee? What has he been doing 40 years? He came with that point to build an independent, self-sustained, integrated economy. I think it was point number 5. Fighting corruption. Fighting rigging of elections, election violence, all these things. He has done them to the letter. Let me tell you, one time I participated in I'm an actor, by the way. I used to act in National Theatre even in Bweranyangi. There was a play called, was it The Merchant of Venice? I tell you, Museveni has bettered, has executed that villainy which he had taken off, the corruption, the greed, what he has executed it and bettered the instructions in terms of corruption, in terms of election violence, in terms of failure of building the economy, in terms of breaking morals. Imagine we had our morals, we had ESCO values, but his government has broken, executed and doubled the instructions and broken all the moral values of majority of Ugandans. And when you see what is going on, you really say, where is Uganda going? So We picked the nation from the ditch. We put it on a new foundation called the 1995 Constitution, and we are supposed to start building the rest of the, implementing the rest of the 10-point program. But what happened? For me, I summarize it like this. In Runyankore, we have a proverb that when you love something very much, it makes you drop what you already have to pick that which you love. In Runyankore, nibajangwe ekyokunda kikunagisa ekyokwitsi. President Museveni, supposedly, he came with a vision to deliver Uganda from dictatorship, from violence, from all the ills of politics to a good democratic government which is run on the basis of separation of powers, where the institutions are built and they are good, where independent judiciary, legislature, to establish peaceful transfer of power from one government to another, which Uganda had lacked. And he came clearly telling us that the problem with Africa, and in particular Uganda, is the leaders who don't want to leave power, to hand over power peacefully.
Who want to cling on to power.
You want to cling on power and don't want to hand it over peacefully. That is my Museveni, whom I embraced 100%. And I had experienced those leaders who were doing that. And here comes this angel.
Who executed better than...
And I can assure you, there is no Ugandan who had ever ruled Uganda for 40 years. First Obote, I think, was 9.
That's true.
Then Amin 9. Then Obote 2-5.
Yeah.
Now 40 years. And they
Even
keep saying, great man. Great man, what if he passes on tomorrow?
When the NRA took power, and you joined the NRM in the leadership of the country, as minister, as MP, as a member of the Constitutional Commission.
As everything, actually. I embraced it. When, personal as an individual, one of the reasons I cherished Museveni, I still love him, by the way. I wish him the best.
That is very hard to believe.
I critique, but I love. It is hard. You think I hate this man. I wish you could rest peacefully.
I think I've become like Ugandans who think when you criticize someone, it's personal.
I have always said I'm praying. I even pray for him even at my altar, God. Why don't you visit the one time wonderful angel that you gave us and really impact on him a desire to know that people lead and hand over. Because why I was telling you that when you I didn't finish my statement when you said what you are holding, what you love more makes you drop what you are holding. Okay, I was telling you what President Museveni came in holding. Down the road, he loved power more than what he desired holding to do for the nation. And so he dropped the desire of transforming Uganda into a nice, good, peaceful, democratic governance. Instead, he loved power so much, so he turned it into a dictatorship, and down the road, a total militarized dictatorship.
Honorable, you say you think Museveni loved power and then he dropped the desire to transform.
Yes.
But there are people who think, I'm sure like even Dr. Besigye and others with hindsight, who think that this man never wanted to transform the country at any point.
Well, they were there with him.
So has that ever crossed your mind that maybe he lied to people that were with him in the bush, and you that came and joined him, that he never at one point desired to transform the country.
That is the truth. That one, certainly, unless I don't have any intelligence or any common sense, because somebody, except that for me, when I embraced 100%, I embraced him believing
You were
that he has come
naive
with that 10-point program. Where I was politically naive, I've never been a politician.
Yeah.
But what about those who were in the bush with him? Were they not worse than me? Because he should have learned. Because for me, when I became, actually it is when I became the Minister for Ethics and Integrity, that I came closer. You know, I started as LC1, what went up. But getting close and seeing what is going on. You need to read my book, because in my book, The Struggle for Freedom and Democracy Betrayed, shows you the journey I moved with these people.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, of course, for me, when he came, one of the reasons I cherished and embraced and loved him 100% was coming and establishing, putting the platform for me to realize my childhood dream.
Yeah.
Because my childhood dream had been to get a platform where I can stand and fight for gender equality and women's empowerment in particular, but generally fighting for justice and fairness, but in particular for gender equality and women's empowerment, which I had not been able to run with. But when he came and said, "Women, where are you?" Oh my God, which woman could have remained behind when she had had that fantastic dream? How couldn't I embrace this angel 100%, as if God has sent him to me to even realize that childhood dream, which was not, by the way, self-centered, but focused at changing the status of women and girls in this country. That was my dream. So I embraced him from RC1. I went to RC2. I first as RC1, Resistance Movement. RC1 in the village, RC2 at the parish, at the sub-county Nakwa division. I was the vice chairperson, the first only woman that held a position that was not reserved for the women. I was the vice chairperson, Nakwa division. And even when I went to Kampala district, I also again held a position which was not meant, which was perceivingly not the woman's seat, which was the secretary for mass mobilization and education. And I tell you, by the time I went to Mbarara to become a member of parliament, almost the whole Uganda was hearing of this woman, Matembe. Who is this? She's breaking marriages. She's breaking British what? She's, I tell you, when people say I don't like Museveni, I don't like what he does. How can't I like him when he really brought a platform for me within those 20 years of my political participation? I am done. Whatever I did not do, other people can do, but the voice for the women did not only go in Uganda, but it went in Africa and on the international platform. That in 1998, I received an international award as one of 100 women heroines of the world. 1998, I received an international award as one of 100 women heroines of the world by that time, who for the last 100 years, those years, 1898 to 1998, they were choosing 100 women who had made an impact on the women of the world. And I, Miria Matembe, who had been on the platform for only 13 years, was chosen among those. And I went to New York and held the Uganda flag. Where does the credit go? To President Museveni, who brought the platform that enabled me to excel. So how can I hate him? Now, the other thing which I did, and I'm telling what I did, then I went into parliament And then that's when I was also appointed a member of the 21
members of the
Uganda Constitutional Commission.
Yeah.
I did that. Then I went into CA. Then I was also elected as a member of the Legal and Drafting Committee. And from CA there, then after the Constitution was made in 1998, I was appointed. I mean, after the Constitution was made in 1998, I was appointed the first minister for ethics and integrity. I'm the one who established that ministry. And after I had objected the removal of the term limit and I was chased away from the ministry, I went back into my backbench, but I was again elected as one of the first members of parliament in Africa who established the Pan-African Parliament. So that is in my political career, that's how far it went.
So I read your book. One realizes the naivety I was talking about now. When you read your book, which really clearly talks about the betrayal of the convictions you had, of the promise that the NRM government was in changing the tide. There's this narration by your late uncle. Kazora was your uncle, right? Yes. About
one
how,
of the Bushmen. About
how the Ankole MPs were caucusing.
When we were in
Rwachitura, I
but
think.
I talk about it also in Rwachitura.
So you see that someone who says things like that in the early stages even, and says, this one cannot be a vice president. You think Speciosa Kazwe is a vice president? No, you just put her there so that the women love you, the Catholics, you understand. And I think he mentions about 5.
I know them.
So
Purkor,
JJ Odong.
By then, that was not so much of the early stages. Because you remember the point.
What year was this?
The point I can't remember, but the points we were raising when we said, "But you, President,
yeah,
you put old people like Mayanja and Kanji, and they sleep." And then he said, "Yeah." Yeah, that is, he said, you Matembe, you political novice or whatever they call it. That is when I captured.
One amateur.
When he was saying
that when they sleep is when he captures. So that doesn't speak to someone who had come to transform, right?
No, but that one already, that's why we are raising these issues to him. We had already realized. Because you remember, if you read my book very well, we said that 2000. But when he was saying that, it was already after the Constitution was made. It was after 1996.
I see.
By the way, actually, one thing you need to know, that things with President Museveni changed visibly to see with even with the eyes, the spiritual eyes, and seeing with the physical eyes. For us, for Besigye, it was early, and for other people.
Yeah.
But for us, like who were still at a distance, like I told you, I learned much more when I became a minister.
Yeah.
But when you are in parliament, you talk in parliament, you don't know what happens in there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even meet him or whatever to do what. So things changed after the new constitution had been put in place. And I will tell you why. Things changed after the new constitution was promulgated. Because during NRC, the first 10 years of Museveni's government, he was the power.
He was everything.
Because he was the chairperson of the movement and the chairperson of parliament. Although he didn't come to sit in parliament all the time, he was the leader of parliament. Nevertheless, that parliament performed so well
Yeah.
because we were one. Whenever we had an issue of contention, this time now, President Museveni would come and take the seat. And all of us would speak. Even if it needed 2 days, we had to speak and reach a consensus. And when we reached a consensus, what we reached was what was being implemented.
He was not
now
a dictator.
We go into the new constitution. The new constitution takes away his power to
As
lead
head of parliament.
this, to be head of parliament. And remember, the parliament is the institution where what is executed is supposed to be made, thought about, discussed, and decided. Okay?
Yeah.
His change towards parliament, towards constitution, is that case which involved Ujagari. There was an issue in Ujagari. They wanted to make the electricity there. And there was
an American company
American company.
AES.
You remember it?
Yes.
Which,
and there were environmental issues that the sixth
which
parliament.
were, not only environmental, also suspicion about that company. The Kazoras, the sixth parliament. We raised those issues of, but this company, it doesn't seem to be authentic. It doesn't seem to be a genuine company. So when they raised those issues for him, I think some people behind there who wanted to start grabbing and eating were with him. I think they told him this is the good company which must work. So when the parliament said no, he said, but this parliament, I'm going there. He said, I'm going there to tell them, no, you are not, you have no place in parliament unless they call you. They said the constitution gives the separation of power. The parliament is supposed to be independent in executing its duty. That's when he said, but what is a constitution? Actually, what is a constitution? It is a mere paper. That's when my eyes opened. That time. That's when my eyes opened, and I said, Obote had already said the constitution is a mere paper.
So we are
and now President Museveni is saying a constitution is a mere paper. Me, the interpretation of President Museveni, because I knew he loved the constitution. I personally knew it, because I used to interact with him when we were making that constitution. One time we did not have money. They constituted us. There was no money. And one time when he called me to his office, I don't know, I can't remember what we were going to speak. When we had discussed everything, I said, but what is your attitude? Do you really love a constitution? And he said, let me tell you, a constitution is the biggest gift I want to give to Ugandans.
Wow.
And to me, that told me that he loved it. And he ordered, when I told him we were down, we cannot work, he called Ministry of Finance, he called these people, and they released the resources, and we started work.
How can someone say he's giving us the biggest gift that he has violated?
Yes,
in the
he
way
said it because I was appointed to the Constitutional Commission in 1989. That was during 1989 when I went there. For whatever he was calling me for. And I told him, I don't know whether it was the wife who had called me, and then he bumped into me at State House in Entebbe. And I told him about, he said, this is the biggest gift I want to give to Uganda. And to confirm that, when we were handing over the draft constitution to the president in Mbarara, now when we reached, we had this, the draft one. And he came to meet us, and we said, well, we told him that the printed copy is on the way coming, but we have this draft. He said, give me that one. So as he was receiving it with happiness, with joy, that finally, mark this was after 4 years.
He received it with joy.
That finally what he has been waiting for has come. And as he had started to open it, the other man arrived with a printed constitution. And so we said, our chairperson handed, he said, this is the printed one, you can give us this draft. He said, no, let me take both of them. Very happy, very excited. I was there. That's why for me I say that the issues of constitution with President Museveni, he knew a constitution, the importance of a constitution, I think, as a document, but he didn't know constitutionalism. He didn't know that constitution goes with constitutionalism.
Yeah.
Without constitutionalism, a constitution is indeed a mere paper. So when he said, what are you talking about? Because he saw that all of a sudden the constitution, in terms of constitutionalism, is taking away his power to rule every institution.
So you think
that was the beginning of chaos, and he said, what? Sixth Parliament. Let me tell you, even up to now, the Sixth Parliament
still complains about
the Sixth Parliament.
Yeah.
And from that Sixth Parliament, he said, and in fact we were tough in the Sixth Parliament, we were tough. We even refused the privatization of commercial bank. And you know what he did? He decided, see, these vocal people, I had become so vocal. I remember when I refused the commercial bank privatization, the example I gave, I said, however much you love, you are a couple, you love people to come and visit you, you welcome them in your home, you cannot take them all to your bedroom.
Yeah.
I said, no, you can't take them off to your bedroom, they must end somewhere. You can't.
You must leave something for yourself.
Yes, you must privatize commercial bank. And the late man Stumboine, rest his soul in peace, he was with me. We opposed it very strongly. And you know, after they had, of course, they defeated us. After they had defeated us, 1998, what does he do? He appoints us ministers. You know, when you are appointed a minister, I was appointed minister, the first minister for ethics and integrity. That is in the midst of the outcry. 1998, there was outcry had come in the public and for development partners. Corruption. They had started of talking corruption. And the president, 1996, had appointed Vice President Kazuwe and gave her anti-corruption unit in his office, in her office. But by 1998, they said they found that corruption cannot be fought by hit and run. They said there was breakdown of values and systems that they need to build. So they found that the anti-corruption unit cannot work. It needs a ministry which will build ethics and integrity in public office and coordinate the efforts to fight corruption. And so Museveni looked around. I love him for that also. He looked around among the Ugandans that time. Miria Matembe was the person of the highest integrity to get that office.
When you look at that office now.
He appointed me, where is it? He appointed me as the Minister for Ethics and Integrity, and he appointed Mans Tumboine, and he appointed Sarah Chinji. We were causing chaos in Parliament, shouting the truth. He made us ministers. And you know, when you are a minister, people think you are not talking. But this, let me get this opportunity to explain this.
Yeah.
When you become a cabinet minister, it means you are now in executive and you are an implementer.
Yeah.
So you cannot now come out in parliament and start criticizing what?
The executive.
Because you are the government. So you took us there. But good enough, you took us there to get us out talking in parliament, but good enough when I reached there, I had opportunity to be close to him to see how things are really not going anywhere. How things are not going anywhere. And that's where I had served for one term. That's when I told him, please, your time has come, quit. Because we need to rebuild, we need to open up, we are going to open up political parties and build the party of the NRM. We who were in the NRM get into our own party, build it. I suggested all these things at Chankwanzi when he chased me away. But I told him all those because I had come closer. But by putting us there, he was shutting us down. Not to shout. We would shout in cabinet and shout in cabinet. And when they pass the decision, I mean, you say, let's move on. But one thing I'll tell you also, that we should have learned earlier. Yes, we learned step by step, but in 2001, we as the members of Mbarara Caucus, it is in my book, we had already noticed that surely President Museveni should not go on. We had thought actually that he was not coming. And in fact, his wife had told me that they are not coming. His wife told me in 1996, after elections, he was my friend, we were very close. He said, these Ugandans have blessed us, have thanked us for the work we did, and this is, now that they have given us votes and elected us officially into government, this will be our last term to serve. He told me, she, at her home in Rwachito.
That in 2001 they are not coming back.
90s, he said this is the last. And in fact, 2001, when I was telling him how I'm going, I said, well, if you have finished, I think I would also have served enough, I can stop there. Then when I told him, she came and told me that, how can you leave us? How can you leave us? I said, but you told me you are not going back. I said, no, you see, we have to continue and take this country at least this other more term. That's why I stayed. I said, okay, let me stay. Because the term was still what? There. We talked as Uganda, as Nyankore. We said, well, this man, we gave him term limit. The term limit is beginning ending in 2001, 2006. Now, he seems to be wanting to come back. We had expected him not to come, but he seems to be wanting to come back. And if he seems to be wanting to come back, let us not abandon him.
It's one term anyway, so...
Let us not abandon him, because, first of all, it would be like we are not appreciating what he has done. Secondly, we have not prepared. We are not prepared anybody, like somebody is coming. That is 2001. So we said, let us go with him now. After elections, for this one more term, we shall organize and
start preparing.
Because he will be finishing his term.
Okay. So
little did we know that the man was not going anywhere.
So my question there, you joined the NRM government when it came into power. You served in so many capacities, and you saw a bit of things you were uneasy with, especially in the 6th Parliament, but you continued. Why did the issue of term limits make you so angry? And you said, all the benefit of doubt you had given Museveni, and you said, now I am not. Why was it? Because
I thought I've already answered that question, because we had already seen these challenges. And we used to sit at Chankwa, in fact, Mushega's home, Wapakabura times and discuss these issues. We used to meet him and say, but surely no, here and here things are not going right. He said, okay. Ari nakaju manyakagira nakachika. Secret kokutamu tukaganira. You would say, okay, we shall meet, okay, we shall meet. And then that is when 2001 was coming on. You remember that's when Besigye parted with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, you know, we used to have personal chats with the Mzee. One time, when I think I had become a minister, I was addressing a conference of East African on women on conflict, whatever. And I remember I made a statement. I made a statement that we need to refuse the presidents who stick on power. They don't want to live as women, because that's what is causing us suffering and violence. And I said, you people, for me, I said, for instance, for us, our president knows. He made the constitution. He knows that he will not go beyond the term limit. But if he wants to, he shows the signs of wanting to stay, let us rise and say no to him. I said, if for you, you don't, me, I will tell him personally. The next day, they put there in New Vision, me holding a bell and Museveni seated writing his whatever things, and I'm standing here holding a bell and showing him time up, time up. So I remember when he read the paper, he rang me. I was even in cabinet. I came running. I had not read the paper. I came to his office of his personal assistant. I found him there. Then he greeted me, Miria Matembe. He said, but I saw you commanding. I said, but where? He said in the newspaper. I asked this girl, the secretary, to give me the newspaper. Then I saw the cartoon. And I said, but Mzee, don't you know newspaper? They always tell lies. They can, they can say what you have not said.
Yeah.
He said, so what did you say? I said, I was addressing this conference of the African. I told him the story. And I said, I told these people that we should, when you want to stay in power, we should tell you. And I told them that if they fear you, me, I will tell you. And then he said, but who tells you I want to stay in power? Am I not the one who put you at the constitution to make the constitution? Didn't you make the constitution? Are you the one who put yourself there, or it is me? I said, of course, it's you, and that's why I was saying you were not going to stay, but in case. So he said, now, you go and say that's what you said to the press, so that they may change this situation. I said, I rang the New Vision. I told them, did I write something? Or I told them, you people, what you have put in the New Vision is not right. I actually said that the president doesn't want to stay. And I said, I even put in, I said to confirm that he was even interviewed by the British paper. You had been interviewed by the British there. And he said, no, I'm not staying. So I put that even I refer you to his interview with the British when he said he's not going to stay. So he's not staying now. That's what he told me, that he's not staying. Okay?
Yeah.
Personally, and I put it in the paper. And then we go to Chankwanzi, 2003. People are talking of Chisanja. What are you saying about Chisanja? So that when we go, we know what we shall say. You know what he said? No. That one is not on the agenda. That one is not on the agenda for Chankwanzi. We are going to discuss the restoration of political parties. So we go to Chankwanzi knowing that the issue is not on the agenda. So we sit there. And what happens? You can imagine with that background in mind, the man said he's not going to stand again. He tells me, and then he says that the issue is not even going to be discussed at the SEC, and so we don't care. We don't go with any stand on it, and we reach there. And what does he do? He sits there on the agenda, which said was the main agenda. He talks for about 10 or 20 minutes. Yeah, we remove, let's see, open the political parties. And in the opening of the political parties, he was saying, Tubejeko, we are tired with them. And he was saying, in any case, after all, that's what the development partners want. They want us to open the political parties. When we open political parties, the other people will let us to do our own things. A few minutes, then okay. Then he comes on and says, now, as to this issue of Echisanja,
so that time there was no Anita Evelyn to introduce it. He introduced this topic himself. You know how for age limit it was...
This is now Museveni. Seated there, and I was facing him. And he said, as for this issue of Echisanja, I would like us to discuss it in terms of removing the term limit. What would you do if you were you? I was looking at this man. It was too much. And he says, as for the Chisanja, I want us to discuss it in terms of removing the term limit. I said, like I have what? And he was saying me, because he knew some of us who did not want the removal of this term limit. And remember, you remember, we had already sat as Banyankore, as Westerners, when Besigye contested.
Yeah.
We sat with him.
And said he shouldn't have.
I told Besigye, we said, Besigye, if this man is just finishing this term, and Besigye said, what? You people, what is his father's name?
Chifef.
He said,
oh, was talking about whose father?
Besigye. I said, nkoko kurahira, kurahira chana tata Chifef ba yabat. If you people think that Museveni will remove will leave power, you are just jokers. And I remember telling this Besigye, please do not, but I've forgotten the word. You know, when you impute, say, please don't impute things on this man. Because he's not going to stay. Because I had this background, we had discussed and discussed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had discussed with Madame how they were going to stop in 96. Now we had given them 5. So my naive, my real, naive, innocent genuineness. But I don't condemn it. I don't blame it.
Yeah.
It has kept me, because I remain unsuspecting. My mind remains clear. I don't have to hate. I don't have to involve in backdoor things.
Yeah.
Yes, I remain naive until I see who you are. And once I see who you are, then that's who you are. So that's why I'm who I am with this president of ours.
Okay,
I know you.
So apart from the shock that gave you.
I got the shock, and he said, if you remove it, if you say Sanj, they will think that we want to stay. I'm the one who wants to stay there. But now that we have opened the political parties, when we remove the Chisanja, when we remove the term limit, it will be removed for everybody.
Wow.
Let me tell you, that day, I listened, there were 2 days. Immediately I put my hand 3 times, and he was not picking me, and I stopped.
So you didn't say anything in Chankwan's?
What are you talking? Then why did they chase me? I stopped. If it was not for Muntu, I would never have said anything there. I would never have had an opportunity. Because they talked. One book I have missed. You know, I delayed. At that day in Chankwanzi, by the end of those 2 days, I had got a title to my book. What came to my mind was write a book entitled The Making of a Dictator. I saw Ugandans make a dictator. I saw them. I sat there. When he refused me the third time, I stopped because he knew. And he knew that I would talk. He knew I would power whatever I powered, even that at the end. But he wouldn't allow me. So I stopped. I kept praying, God, if you really want me to speak, you'll give me an opportunity to speak. So it was a day. I remember Nasasra, when I would meet Nasasra, I said, this man is there, but I will tell him. Nasasra was telling, but
so that day passes.
Nasasra was telling, but what do you want? Why don't you leave this man? You better leave these things. Come for them, they already knew. Their cocoon already knew. The way Nasasra was telling me, you are Nagambra, you are going to cause yourself a problem. Why do you want to speak? I said, I will speak. And I would meet him there, but you keep quiet. I said, I will speak. So they spoke. They were telling him, you are God. You are the God of this country. You can't go. There is one man who was saying, you know, you and the movement are semen. I said, semen? Then the president, I think he was attending to me so much. I said, semen? Then he said, he means Siamese twins. I'm telling you, we have seen things.
Who was this man?
One of you remember these were the ROC3, the SEC was made by ROC3.
No, this was NEC.
The NEC.
That's NEC, yes.
No.
No, that's NEC. SEC is made of the bigger people.
Let me tell you, by then, within the movement, it used to be like one chairperson. Chairpersons of what? Of all the districts. And then they were, one member of every parliament had one member to represent. One region, one district.
One district.
Had a member of parliament, like Kasha, like Mbara district. They would choose one member of parliament.
To be in SEC.
And then, like the women in the western region chose me to be in SEC. So it was not constituted as now. Okay. So the chairpersons of the districts were there. I don't know where else were there, but that's why Museveni told me afterwards when he was bashing me, he said, why did you speak at a wrong forum? Anyway, Museveni and I, our conversations are many. So
the guy said Museveni and the movement were like semen.
We are semen. And I said, semen? He said yes, and he was bending down. He means Siamese twins. So they really talked, they pampered him the whole day.
Which are the names you remember?
The whole day ended.
The prominent ones.
I can't remember.
Among the prominent people, those that supported?
The chairman of the local whatever. In fact, the chairperson of Mbara district never said anything. He kept quiet, Kamjera, but he was supporting Quater, I think. But these other people, they would stand up like they are worshipping, and I saw them make a dictator, and he was there being glorified. He was being glorified and feeling good and feeling happy. And second day when we came to the meeting, he said, I think we finished this issue of term limit and what we finished.
So that day he only picked those who were going to glorify and support.
At least whoever stood up. Because Chiyonga had mobilized people behind our back.
To support.
He had traveled the whole country. We didn't know. Behind our back, he was the national whatever. At NRM. So these people came knowing that they are coming to support, and yet for us, he had said that the matter is not on the agenda. So we were taken as a surprise, so we were there. But those people talked there. And then the next day he said, yeah, we have done it. Everything is okay.
Yeah.
It is removed. Then Mont put up his hand.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but what if there is an alternative view? Because yesterday we listened to only one view. Then he said, hey, yeah, that's important. Yeah, there could be alternative view. Okay, let's continue. And he continued calling people who would say yes, 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 yes. Until I think it was it 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock, I think after lunch. Then he said, now, okay, alternative view. And of course I was, whoa, the first one. And let me tell you, I spoke, I poured out my heart passionately, not in hatred, not in anger. I poured it passionately because now I had realized that he wants to come back. Yeah. And I didn't want him to come back. I would rather have him rest.
What was your biggest worry?
Because where we had reached, he was going to lose out. Where he had reached, he was going to lose out on peaceful handover of power, which he had come to secure for Ugandans. I talked passionately, with love, I'm telling you. I remember telling him, please, please, please go to Rwachitura and sit there and advise us. Let us form a new party. Let us form a new leadership. You know why he was angry with me? I told him, you went to fight against corruption. All these people, they are your people. They are movement people. They are corrupt. Said, I'm your minister, and I know. Number 2, the rigging of elections. Just the other day, 2001, you know how they rigged it. Yeah. Because I knew everything. I was involved. When I chased away this Kakozam. Hey, I did a lot, and after chasing them away, in the night, President Museveni rang me to bash me for disturbing elections.
Wow.
And I said, you man, instead of really thanking me for saving the districts from chaos, which was going to take place, from people dying like they died in Mbara and where, you are now attacking me like that. And he had to say, okay, cool down, sorry. We have had me.
Yeah.
That's why you see him quiet. He knows I never kept anything secret.
Yeah.
Everything I would power it there.
You tell him.
And I'm sure he knows my heart. He knows I don't hate him. He knows it. Those who say Miria doesn't like Museveni, I love him more than they do. Because for them, they are there to grab.
Tell him the truth.
They are there to grab me. I didn't want anything there. I wanted Uganda to change. I wanted it to go in the right direction. So I told him, now you were fighting. You told us presidents who don't want to leave power, now you want to be like them. Why do you want to be like them? You are going to kill this nation. So I told him, and when I was talking, I think I talked like 30 minutes or even more. You could drop a needle and everybody would hear it. I'm telling you.
The silence was loud.
The silence. And from that time, that was it.
Okay, so you've mentioned the elephant in the room, as it were, transition, peaceful handover of power, which you, the framers of the 1995 Constitution, had thought you had secured through term limits. And term limits went, age limit went. We are 40 years now, and an over 80-year-old president. What are the pathways for transition you envisage?
I am glad you are talking of 40 years, and since we started talking, I don't think I had referred my
to the
talk
40 years.
To God. Because, let me tell you, for those who know the Bible, who know the word of God, when the children of Israel, they were delivered from slavery. In
from
Egypt.
Yes.
Heading to the promised land. And the journey was for 10 days. But they took 40 years in the desert because of their slavery mentality. Because it was their slavery mentality, it was their attitude.
Yeah.
When those 10 days, I think, were about to pass, Moses, they were seeing the promised land near there. It was in their sight. And Moses, their leader, sent 12 people, spies, to go and spy the land and come to say whether the land was there, indeed with honey and milk, and whether they could take over the land. They went and spied the land.
Yeah.
And they saw the land was there. Honey and milk. Everything God said was there. But what else did they see? They saw giants in the land. When they saw giants in the land, they looked at themselves like grasshoppers in the eyes of the giants, because they forgot the God who had brought them and crossed them through the water and all this journey. Because of their mentality, the poor slavery mentality, the poor attitude of not seeing the good ahead.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on the good land which they were going to take, they focused on the people who were giants and they feared them. The word of God tells us that when they came back, the 10 gave a wrong report. But 2, Caleb and Joshua, gave the right report. They said, if we still focused on the mission God gave us to take over that land, He will be with us and we shall take over the land. But the 10 deceived the whole public and they missed taking over the land.
Yeah.
And God gave them a punishment, 40 years. They were moving around the desert, until 40 years came and God said, turn round and go and take over the land I gave you. Now, this is exactly what happened to Ugandans. That day, 2006, 2003.
Yes.
It is like God sent
People to survey.
And they said, we remove the term limit. And we, some of us said, no, don't remove the term limit. That was the time. We were supposed to cross over and get peaceful transition. But like the children of Israel, with a stupid mentality, slavery mentality, focusing on an individual, instead of focusing on Uganda as a journey traveling, they focused on Museveni as their God, as their savior, as their hope, as their everything. And of course we offended God. So back into our desert for more 20 years now. But what pleases me and gives me hope as a Christian who lives in God, believes in God, 40 years around the corner. And I am praying and I'm saying, God, since I'm one of Caleb, I could be Caleb. Caleb, you know Caleb or Joshua.
Yeah.
I'm one of those. And I think Ruchikere was one of us. Muntu was one of us. Sarah Chinj was one of us.
Yeah.
Elia Katega was one of us. Vidand Sar was one of us. And a bit many more because we were 54 who rejected, who gave a good report. Now I'm saying for the sake of our report, God, remember mercy and help us
All right.
turn around. But having said that, in my faith in God, because I see no other way. I am seeing no other way. In human, it is not humanly possible right now in Uganda to hand over peacefully power from President Museveni to another person. It is not possible in the physical, but our God, who is a God of miracle, who is a God of power and authority, he can engineer that situation and it does happen. People may laugh at me.
How do
They
you
may say
think
this
God
is
will do
Matembe
it?
is playing. How can I go into the mind of God? God has done many things many times. God, you know what God engineered here in this country without even going to the Bible. Museveni was going to take so many years if she was take Kampala to take over it. He was going to take so many years.
Yeah.
But you know what happened? God engineered the uncoordinated movement of troops. The very people, the Obote and his military, they fought together and overthrew Obote. When they overthrew Obote and there was chaos, Museveni jumped and came and took over Kampala because God engineered that situation. And let me tell you, if you go and read in is it Chronicles, you'll find this king called Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, the Syrians were they Syrians or whatever, were going to take over him, and they abused him, said, we are coming. He ran to God and said, God, I can't manage these people. Did it for me. And God said, don't worry, you walk and sing. As he walked to surround the city, God engineered the fight among who? Among the very people who were fighting Jehoshaphat. And by the time they reached the city, those people had finished themselves. And Jehoshaphat remained the king.
So you don't know how God will do it,
God,
but you are
I have
faithful.
I have faith. He can engineer a situation which can shock you. So I am not helpless or hopeless until 2026 is over. And remember, it is 40 years around
So
the
you
corner.
told me this 5 years ago, and you're repeating it, so you're
Which
consistent. You said that when you saw term limits gone, you said this time it is only God.
I said it in Parliament. I said it. I walked out and cried. And I said, God, have mercy on us.
Yeah.
And you have seen things are getting
So that
worse and
means
worse and worse.
Since 2003, you've been waiting on God.
Yes, with God you wait patiently. Let me tell you, it says,
Yeah, yeah.
I think it is Isaiah chapter 30, where it says, in quietness and trust is your strength. In quietness and trust, waiting patiently upon the Lord. Hey.
Okay. So, and then you said that in nothing will change the situation, not elections. Yeah.
I have repeatedly said it, that compared with Museveni in terms of leadership, in terms of, what do I call it, truthfulness,
Yeah.
I prefer Amin.
Yeah.
Amin said, I am here as a life president. And so, here I am. And all of us knew we had no power, we had no authority, we have nothing to remove Amin until death removes him. So we are there suffering. In the meantime, God did what? Removed him. But President Museveni is a life president. In his heart,
Yeah.
he wants to be a life president.
He lied to.
But he wants to use Ugandans to make him a life president, which is wicked.
Which is deceitful.
Which anti-deceitful is wickedness. which is wicked. Because why do you involve us? And in involving us of endorsing you as a life president, you are finishing and wasting our resources for nothing. Violence, our people are being beaten, are shattered, are being maimed and injured for nothing. Why don't you behave like Amin and be truthful and leave God to work?
Yeah.
So when you see me angry, one of the thing that makes me more angry with President Museveni is lies. Lies, lies, lies. You cannot be a leader of a nation when you are a liar. Lying. You say something today, tomorrow it is not. Don't you, and people follow you because they have trusted you. And you shatter them. You shatter their hearts. You shatter, especially people like us who are genuinely truthful, never lie. What we see is what we think we've seen. You can call us fools.
Yeah.
But it is also a characteristic from God that we should trust.
Yeah.
And people should be trustworthy.
Yes.
And God loves telling the truth. Truth telling.
Yeah.
If you want to know the worst sin on earth before God is lying. To go.
So succession, there's this rumor that the president is lining up his son to succeed him, who is now the current CDF. But there's also the other rumors of a power struggle within his own family.
That is true. That one is not a rumor. I don't think that. We have eyes, although we are naive. People like us who call ourselves naive, we can see. I had already, President Museveni, as long as he's alive, if he's still alive, he doesn't want to leave power.
Yeah.
He will stay. But I said it clearly that, when we are not so sure whether you will still be alive, he was putting, you remember what Kahinda was saying, generator.
Yeah.
A standby generator. Yeah. So he put his son as a standby generator in case he passes on, so that his son may take over the position. But as long as he's still alive, I don't see him handing over his power to anybody.
Yeah.
As long as he's still alive. But that was a standby generator. And that standby generator is there in case anything happens. But within the family, there are certain divisions which are there. All within the family, they are not settling down on that standby generator because there are many guys in the family. So some members of the family would like to have one of the guys, and some members would like to have
the standby
generator. But I strongly condemn, in the strongest, loudest voice, condemn that nonsense. Because Uganda is not a kingdom. Uganda is not a kingdom that Uganda is being led by the family. First family is the leader, is the one which decides. You see these members of parliament, you see speakers, you see ministers, they have no decisions to make. Their decisions must be endorsed by the first family. Salim Sare, the first lady. Some of the ministers, if you are not, the first lady doesn't say go there, you don't go there. If Salim Sare doesn't say be permanent secretary, be what or what, you don't.
Yeah.
So the Uganda is being led by the first family as if they are the most brilliant people in this country. And as if they are the generation now. How many generations are these? 40 years. The word of God says that each generation has a purpose to serve in its generation.
Yeah.
But President Museveni has blocked off about 3 generations. Now, the ones who were after him, The Kazoras who would now be, for us, our generation is locked off.
Yeah.
But we start with the Mushegas, the whatever, because me, I'm behind them.
Yeah.
Then my own generation, then the Kazoras generation, they are all blocked off. And he's jumping out with his son. Which generation
The
is that?
standby generator, what is about the violence, the what he writes? I'm sure you've seen, even if you're not on social media.
What haven't I talked about that guy?
How do you see that affecting the plans for his succession? Do you think Ugandans will rise up at some point because of this brazen abuse of power?
Look here, I have already told you about Ugandans looking at themselves as grasshoppers in the eyes of Museveni. Those grasshoppers, when they bring when Moses is brought, the grasshoppers will bow. Unless God comes in,
Even
the grasshoppers will bow.
Even with all that they have seen him say and do.
But you mean you don't see them, all members of parliament from the whole region who run with him? You mean you haven't seen them? Those grasshoppers, I'm telling you. Unless God comes and says, enough, you have been on this mountain far too long. Turn round and walk north. The grasshoppers will bow to this guy. This guy, how can you just be a nuisance? You are just there. I don't want the stomachs of women. I had those buttocks. What do you want with women of Uganda? We are, stop there. Let me leave this. Because when you bring in that man, you want to crush my mind.
We can't live without me talking
I'm better off. I've finished.
About women. Let's leave the man. About the role, the place of women in this country, the women movement that you led, the emancipation of women that you praise President Museveni for so much.
I'm praising him for giving me an opportunity to play my role and effectively bring, together with my colleagues, the women on the public platform.
How do you see the place of women in the politics and leadership of this country right now?
The place of women in the leadership of this country, the women leaders, we were fighting that women may be at the table, at the table, participate in decision making and influence them, such an effective participation that will influence the governance agenda and make it responsive for their interests, concerns and needs as women. That's what we were fighting for. Now, the women of Uganda currently are on the table as a menu.
As a menu?
A menu. People come and sit at the table to eat, okay? Where is the menu? On the table. Now, the women whom we had thought they would sit at the table to participate in decisions and influence them, to make them responsive to their needs, interests and concerns, are now sitting there on the table. I'm using it as a metaphor for people to understand. Because you are not supposed to be there to be seen just because you are a woman. Now, women, why do I say they are on the table? They are in power. And I can assure you for sure, Museveni has captured women. You see them saying, we are Museveni's women. And I've told them Museveni's woman is one. Yet they run, shaking their buttocks. No wonder the man is saying, I don't want to see their stomachs, I want to see their buttocks. Because they go dancing around. We are Museveni's women, when in fact we built an environment for them to go there and be assertive and change decisions. But for them now, they are in power. And there are so many. We have never seen, by the way, this last government, this one, out of the 5 effective highest leaders, out of the 5 highest leaders in government, out of the 6, the 4 are women. The vice president, the prime minister, the first deputy prime minister, the third deputy prime minister, and add on the speaker of parliament. Wow. You can imagine if that were we, if that was our time, what we could have made. But now all of them are dancing and bowing, and they are in decision.
And calling Museveni the Father and the Holy Spirit.
They are at decisions, at the decision-making level. They are in power without power, but serving power. Get it clear. The majority of these women we have, they are in power without power, but serving power.
So would you say you're disappointed?
Oh, yes. I'm extremely disappointed that the opportunity we got is missed out. And he has really made them. Every institution, yesterday when we were burying Kanyamba, do you know how many judges are women? Registrar, principal judge, other judges. They are all there young women. But how are the judgments made?
Yeah.
How are people crying out? Crying out.
Honorable.
Because they cannot have the power to judge in case they lose their jobs. You get it?
Okay.
And now they are appointed as even acting. It has never been we appoint a judge as acting. So he fears she's acting. If she makes a right judgment, she may lose her job. And not only that, you go to these institutions, Kampala district, the woman, the city council, the deputy, the CEO, and you go to IGG, all of them 3 women, but corruption at its highest. So what do you call that? People say Matembe speaks, but at least there are facts there, which I can
Honorable, one would say you are unfair because even men in those positions, because
you have asked me about women.
Okay, so
whom did you ask me about?
Women. What about the argument that the problem is at the top, and whether it's a woman or man, they cannot make decisions. They cannot.
But when you tell me that the problem is at the top, you mean you don't understand when I tell you about grasshoppers?
Oh.
No, because how many people at the top? You, for instance, tell me, Museveni, his brother, his wife, his son, his relatives, they are also son-in-law, and there are some relatives there. How many Ugandans are we? Almost 41 million. Now, why should those people rule us like dogs and like rabbits? It's because of our stupid mentality of not looking ahead. We don't know what we want for Uganda. We don't know what we want for Uganda. We have this stupid mentality of Munange. They used to tell me, Oshoirenyo Konue show. I said, there is nobody who married my mother. Do you know what? Munange, when we are there, Oshoirenyo Konue show. Hachi my mother, or I'm sure that. Now, which other father is that? That nonsense of those proverbs, stupid proverbs, which demean people and make you so silly. Yeah. And I don't have regrets for the language I'm using, because that's what is in my mind. That's what portrays my emotions.
Yeah.
And there is nothing selfishness about it. There's nothing selfish about it. My focus is Uganda, where Uganda should go. I'm looking at our children, the jobless, those who go to do all this slavery in those other countries.
Where they kill them from, yes. Yeah.
Ugandans exporting slaves. You think I become happy? Our Ugandans graduates with no jobs. Munage, they are fearing. We are fearing. Fearing what?
So your last word for the youth. The young people are the majority in
They
this
seem
country.
to be also grasshoppers. I'm very sorry to say that the young people also seem to be grasshoppers. Because if they were not grasshoppers, they would see where the situation is going. They would forget themselves by eating, wanting to eat their boat by this one, boat by the other one. That's why these Kazoras, the Uncle John Kazora, the Besije, the Muntu, the Victor Bwana, the many young men and women who were in the university, left university, they said, no, enough is enough, and they went to the bush. Many of them, of course, were betrayed by their leader, as John says. But I'm not calling upon the young people now to go to the bush. They don't need to go to the bush. They are here. They are the ones who are used to reach the votes. They are the ones who are used to commit violence. They are the ones who are used to do corruption. They are the ones. If
they are the
they
ones who praise him when he talks about the buttocks of
yes, they are the ones. They are grasshoppers. I'm sorry, young people, you kill me. How many times have I mobilized, gone to universities, gone everywhere when we established the Constitutional Commission for Constitutional Governance or what? What is this body headed by Sarah Birete?
Yeah.
When we constituted it, I was part of it. And the Bishop Niringi. And this other man, the brother. We established it. We are the people who started it. And we traversed universities. And those days, the people I was traversing, telling them, please, please rise up, reject all this nonsense. The future is in your hands. The current is in your hands. Please. I'm sure they are now 30. Or they are 29 or 28. Those people I was finding in universities. I'm sure they are that age. So where are they? Why don't they refuse? Why don't they sacrifice? When Chaguranyi stood up, they say, that one is a drunk. Oh, Simanyi, what is that? What do
weed.
They?
Smokes weed.
Smokes weed. They say, she's ghetto. Do you think if all these young people would have joined Chaguranyi? I'm not saying that Chaguranyi is the best man to lead the country. But when Museveni also started going to the bush, he was still young. He was still young when he started fighting. And down the road, he learned. He learned. If they had said, no, this is our generation, let us move and stand firm. You think they wouldn't have secured good leadership? Yeah. Because Chaguranyi, was he going to lead alone? He could have reached there and people are there. The naturals, you know, we would have been there, would get up, say, young man, you know, this is this, and be nurtured to get into, to do what they are doing. But they bowed to Kamane, they fear dying. Even when others are killed, the others hide. So me, I'm not glorifying young people. It is their fault. And the Ugandans and all Ugandans, it is your fault. The suffering you are suffering. And those who come running, help me, my land is taken. I help you, how do I help you? They chased me away. I'm here in my compound. Do you see any mansion? Do you see anything? I'm here by God's grace.
Thank you, Honor.
And I believe in that God of ours. And the word I want to give Ugandans is that this land, Uganda, belongs to God who gave it to us. And our ancestors who established it, based it on the foundation of God. When they said, for God and my country as our motto, and when national anthem, they said, oh Uganda, oh God, we lay Uganda into your hands. The problem is we have broken the covenant with God. We have broken that covenant with God. And when you break the covenant with God, and instead of having for God and my country, it is for my stomach and my clan. And instead of Uganda is in your hands, you have submitted it to the Tracy, to the witchcraft and witch doctors. Then Uganda is gone. And the Mulanga Gwenkuba, what I'm calling upon Ugandans, rise up and surrender to God, and our nation will be delivered. And don't laugh at my God. The one who has sustained me here for the last 20 years. with nothing, no pension, no gratuity, no nothing.
Yeah.
You think he's not a God? Have you seen a fence? Have you seen what here? The
No.
security, those who go with 20 people, they are guarding them. Which guarding? It is God who guards. It is God who protects. It is God who redeems. If we commit ourselves to our God, he will redeem us. 40 years around the corner, we could be redeemed.